John Bones Jones and Tom Aspinall have been going at it. And John, one of the things that I've said about this fight is that we don't need to see between Stipe and John Jones. I don't need to see a title. And that's exactly what John has been hinting to, is that he really doesn't need any other fights but the Stipe fight. If that's the only fight you're looking to do, then what's the point of having the title and holding it up for everyone else?
Well, let's be honest. He had an injury. He just had his elbow fixed also to try to do 2-for-1 while he was out. Tom Aspinall is the interim, but John Jones is the champion. He's got the linear belt. He's the guy, and he doesn't want to give it up. Okay, that's his choice, and it's a choice that's reasonable because he was without that title after giving it up as a light heavyweight for quite a while. So the real question here, Josh, is not so much, yeah, you can go into all the stuff as far as John Jones and what he's done and everything. And look, both you and I have said the same thing about this guy time after time after time. He is the best mixed martial artist you can look at as far as resume, everything, what he's accomplished. He's the GOAT. Right now, he is the GOAT. But he's looking for the easier fight because Tom Aspinall is the tougher fight. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt if you're going to take Tom Aspinall and Stipe Miocic, and I'm not putting Stipe down in any way. I don't want anyone to look at it that way. It's just he's older. He's slower. He's past his prime. Tom Aspinall is not. He's bigger. He's faster. And he hasn't even reached his prime. So if you're John Jones, which guy do you want to fight?
John, I understand. That's what I'm simply saying, though, is that he doesn't need to have a title attached to that. Everyone's going to tune in to watch John Jones fight Stipe, who is considered to be...
No, not everybody is. I don't think there's a whole lot of people that even care
Do
anymore.
you think a title makes a difference? It doesn't make a difference to viewership. People are either going to tune in or they're not.
It sure makes a difference to the UFC as far as saying it's a title fight.
Does it? Okay, then no.
Oh, yes, it does.
No.
You know it does.
It does, but you don't really need that title. You got Tom Aspinall sitting there with the interim title. Just give him the real title then. If you don't want to fight,
now you're gonna give.
If you don't, he's already the
champ.
You're
gonna take a title from a guy you're gonna take a title from a guy that did not lose it and hand it to somebody else.
John has said in there, I don't need to fight anyone else beyond Stipe. That's all he wants to fight. So if that's the case, then what is the point of keeping the title? Just fight Stipe and just call it what it is. It's just an exhibition match.
He's got Dana in his corner because Dana, for whatever reason, wants to see that fight.
Yeah.
It's not a great fight.
It's not.
Let's just put it the way it is. It's not. Tom Aspinall against John Jones? Now you're talking about a great fight.
Look, I'm going to go through a little bit of this. Only 4 recognizable opponents and already the King of England. Must be nice. There will be legendary tales told about you and your infamous callouts. Now, to answer that, look, I have a lot of respect for John Jones. Just because I come from AK doesn't mean that I'm salty towards him. I actually really do enjoy watching him fight. I've always enjoyed watching him fight. His beef with DC and the other ones, that doesn't trickle down to me. That's between them. I got a lot of love for my boy DC. The bottom line is he is a great fighter. But like I said, when it comes to the pay-per-view dollars and the pay-per-view numbers, no one's going to give a shit whether he has a title around his waist or not. They will still buy to watch that fight. And if he knows that this is going to be his last fight, no matter what, there's no reason for him to keep the title. He's already hinting. Go on. There's more, Dave. Pull up the other ones. He's already pulled up saying that, hey, I don't want to be the guy that sticks around too long. I want to be the guy who fights Stipe and he's pretty much gone. If that is the case, then just wrap it up.
But what is that saying? What is that saying?
But if you know there's nothing after that, then why do you? What's the point of keeping the title? Let Tom run on with it.
Oh, but the whole point is this: if you're the champion, are you supposed to pick your opponents?
No, that's true. That's no.
Okay. And what is he doing?
He's picking his opponent.
Yeah. As simple as it gets, the better fight, the fight that'll make more money, the more difficult fight, all of it is Tom Aspinall.
Do you think there's a little saltiness with Tom Aspinall? Because when you look back, though, too, and some of the media and some of the people right now are just kind of like with me, I'm a little kind of salty because you kind of held up the 205 for a long time with the arguments and the stuff going on with Dana, and then now you're at heavyweight, and I know you're injured, I get it, but
Can't help that.
you can't help that, but it still kind of feels like you're holding it up. And then your comments are like, look, I'm going to fight Stipe, and then I'm pretty much riding off into the sunset. Now you're kind of holding it up for your handpicked opponent.
And that's where John made a mistake. John made the mistake of not sitting there saying, just wait your turn, young man. You know, it'll be coming, and I'm gonna let you realize why you made a mistake in wanting it to happen so fast. That's what John should have done, even if he walked away. But he didn't do that. He put it out there, basically, hey, I'm going to do this last fight. I want to beat Stipe. It does something for my legacy that I beat the guy who was the longest reigning heavyweight champ in the UFC. If that's really what I don't think it's going to do anything for his legacy. Let's be honest. But, okay. But you're fighting a Stipe that is not even close to the guy that he once was.
Yeah.
And again, that's not taking anything away from Stipe. I love Stipe. You know, he's a great person. He's a great fighter, but he's slower now. He's older, and heavyweights can get older, but still, when you're facing John Jones, you got to have that speed. You got to have those things going for you. Your wrestling's got to be on point. And it's just not going to be the Stipe that there once was. So if you're going to look and say, what's the better fight? There's no doubt. If I was going to sit there and say, Josh, you could pick one fight. You can watch Stipe Miocic against John Jones, or you can watch Tom Aspinall against John Jones. Which fight are you going to take?
Tom Aspinall. Absolutely. It says right here.
There it goes.
So John Jones tweets out, what I refuse to do is to be like all the other fighters that stick around too long. That just won't happen. Your boy Bones Jones over the years, despite what many people think, I've set myself up pretty well. I believe that, to be honest. You know, I want the Stipe on my resume. Outside of that, I need nothing else from this sport. I came, I saw, I conquered, and that is facts.
Okay.
It is very true.
I don't disagree with any of it except for that part where he says, I want Stipe for my resume. He may want him for his resume. I don't think it affects his resume.
So I'm going to take I'm going to take this argument or conversation in another direction, though.
Oh, we're going to argument now.
John,
let's go.
Let's just say he didn't have a great performance against Dominic Reyes. Then I believe that was his last fight for a while, right? Wasn't that his last fight? He had all that time off. Comes back.
Oh, no. That wasn't his last.
Who did he fight after that?
He had Thiago Santos after that.
Did he? Okay. Santos had 2 torn knees.
Yep.
Didn't have a great fight there either.
Nope, he did not.
Okay. And then he goes out and he fights.
Oh, no. Santos was before.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought Dominic Reyes was the first. Then 3 years off, fights Cyril Gane, who is tailor-made for him.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. Anthony Smith, Thiago Santos, Dominic Reyes. Now, I chalked it up as he's kind of burnt out on beating these guys. Like, it's almost like I'm getting tired of the 205s. I've been in the sport too long. The motivation wasn't there. Now he bulked himself up. You know, this stalled up the going up to 20 or going up to heavyweight. People are waiting around for him to get there. All this talk and all this hype around him getting there took over a year for him to get there, outside of all the arguments he was having after the Dominic Reyes fight. Is it a possibility that he sees and feels like most fighters already kind of see the writing on the wall, that he's not the same guy anymore?
No doubt. No doubt at all. He knows he's not the same. He knows he cannot perform the same techniques with the fluidity that he once had. He knows that. Now, he's still very smart, and he's still got a very high fight IQ, one of the best there's ever been. And he's enough to beat anybody out there. But if you were going to pick one guy to say, this is the guy I would pick to say, All right, John, let's see what you got. I'm going to pick a 6'5", 265 pound as he weighs in, fast, good ground game, Tom Aspinall. That's the guy that you look at and you go, that's the guy that can cause John problems. John is not the fastest. He wasn't the fastest light heavyweight, and he's not going to be the fastest heavyweight. Aspinall is faster than him. And John has always had problems with guys that have long reaches, have size like him, and have speed. Guess what Tom Aspinall is? This is why I think Michael Bisping was the one that said, Tom Aspinall beats John Jones. And a lot of people went, oh, you're nuts. You're stupid. I was like, I think Michael Bisping's right. He is the guy. Now, it depends on when he gets him. But at this point, it's an even fight.
Yeah, I've said countless times on this show, guys like John Jones that have the wrestling pedigree that he has and the ability to get takedowns at any moment, I feel like they can dominate the heavyweight division. Tom Aspinall has good takedown defense, but doesn't care if he's on his back, has the ability to get back up to his feet. He has the size to match with John Jones, physical strength and speed and power. All of those things are there. He is that one. And I also even think Pavlovich is there too. I think
in certain ways, Pavlovich creates problems.
But here's those two guys, they create problems. They're the younger guys that are coming up to create problems for John Jones. But to go back to Stipe, though, John, why are we saying that he's old, he's slow, which he is. He's older and he is getting slower, all those things. But his loss was to Francis Ngannou. It wasn't like he lost to some chump.
No, his last two losses were to Francis Ngannou and Daniel Cormier.
Yeah.
That's his last two.
And he got clipped by Daniel in the exchange out of the break, and
shit happens.
And he got popped by Francis Ngannou, who everyone is.
And then he came back and beat him twice.
Yes. So, is it too far fetched to say that Stipe has a chance?
No, it is not too far fetched to say he has a chance. It's just that I know at this point, I'm not going to see the Stipe that I've seen in the past. Stipe is now how many years past fighting DC? How many years past fighting even Francis Ngannou? It's been quite a few years. Mm-hmm. Pull up Stipe. When's the last time he fought? I want to say 2020. It was during COVID.
It was like 2022.
So it might have been 2021. 2021. So it's been 3 years. And it'll be longer by the time he fights John Jones. That's another 3 years.
But John, you're forgetting that John Jones only had one fight in the last 5 years.
I'm not forgetting that either. But John Jones is younger than Stipe. It affects, if you're going to be that guy that is fighting at an advanced age, you got to be active. You got to stay on it. It's got to be repetitions. When you are taking time off, you can't make up what you lose in your next training camp. You can't make it up, Josh. You know that. You go to training camp when you're young, you're going to training camps to get yourself ready for the fight. You're peaking. And then all of your other training is you're doing it to get better and learn new techniques and all these things. When you get to the point of being 40 years old, 41 years old, and you are not in the gym all the time or fighting all the time, you are losing those abilities. It's a perishable skill. And that perishable skill only gets to the point where you are in that training camp to try to get yourself close to what you were. Not better, just close to what you were. That's not the Stipe that I want to see fight.
Well, I'm going to leave you guys with this, and you guys think about this on your own. I don't need to see John Jones with the title strapped around his waist when he fights Stipe. I would rather see Tom Aspinall fight for the real title against whoever else is a vacated title, and let John fight Stipe on a card. It doesn't make a difference to me. That's my point. That's where I'm leaving it.
I can understand the point, but I think it's wrong for the UFC just to strip John Jones when he didn't do anything wrong.
I mean, I guess I'm looking at as he's handpicking his opponent, which I understand is Stipe. But
he didn't handpick his opponent. Dana picked his opponent.
that's
Now
true.
he's sticking with it.
Yeah, that's the fight, I guess.
He's sticking with him.